All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what's happening. So right here, we are back with another interview, and we actually have a phenomenal band. We have Fire Valley Fire right here live on the radio station airwaves, and of course, Facebook and YouTube as well. Guys, how are you doing? How are you doing tonight?
We're doing good, man. It's 10:30 where we are, and we're two old dads, so this is huge. We're caffeinated, we're ready to talk.
Well, I gotta say, I'm glad you guys chose coffee tonight rather than the pillows, just to actually speak with Punk World Radio, man. So thank you guys for staying up a little bit late to chat with us tonight.
Oh yeah, anytime. Time zones are rough, you know.
But I know you guys are very busy individuals, and of course I'm not going to take you away from your beds too long. So I got to dive right into this, man. I got to take you back to the beginning of this phenomenal band, and I just have to ask, how did you guys actually first meet and, of course, come together as one to form this phenomenal band? Because when you listen to a Fire Valley Fire record, you guys can hear your guys' chemistry throughout these records, man. You guys have phenomenal music.
We've all kind of known each other for, most of our lives. Like, when I was a teenager, Mike was my jiu-jitsu instructor at one point. It's a real small town kind of thing. And when we started the band, and we've all sort of played in different permutations and stuff before. Justin, the singer, and I were in a band called Bella Rebellion for a while. But when that band broke up and we started this new project, we actually put together a list of all of our favorite people that we could have possibly play with and rank them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Justin, the singer, and I reached out to Mike and our guitar player Dan, who were number one on our list, like little kids, and they said yes. Mike showed up, gave us a couple of rehearsals, decided it was worth time. No, Mike, what was it like for you?
Yeah, pretty much like that.
Yeah, okay.
I think Dan reached out to me. I think you guys and Dan were together first, and then Dan reached out to me to see if I was into it.
Mike and Dan played in a pretty locally famous rock band for years called Rock Ranger as the rhythm section of that. So we sort of inherited local rock royalty when we got them in the band.
I actually heard of Rock Ranger, just throughout my time in the music industry and just going through music. I have heard of them, and honestly, another killer band.
Yeah, totally amazing. It's weird. We feel like we're roughly the same age now because it evens out when you get older. But when I was 14, driving to gigs across the Atlantic provinces, we had a Rock Ranger tape that we wore out in the car. Yeah, pretty important to us growing up.
Thanks.
But also as well, since September 1st of... Oh, my apologies, guys. Go ahead.
No. I was just... No.
Mike doesn't know this. We don't really butter each other's bread that often in the band. We just sort of get right to work. It's, Wednesday nights are for jams and writing tunes.
But also, guys, September 1st of 2017, you guys actually released your debut 11-track album titled Bring an Army. I was wondering, looking back on this stellar record, can you tell us a bit more about it? And of course, is it actually still out there to be streamed or purchased today if we haven't already had the opportunity to check out this killer record?
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's on all the streaming places. We still have vinyl copies as well, which you can order through our Bandcamp site. So it's everywhere. All 3 records are streaming everywhere. Yeah.
That was that first record was interesting. It was weird. I remember in the studio we were trying to figure out a couple of things, and the guy who was sort of producing it at the time, we were talking about the way we were supposed to sound. And at the time he said, you guys don't know how you sound yet. And I remember being kind of annoyed and brash and I know exactly how we're supposed to sound. I've got this all figured out. But he was totally right. By the end of that record in the recording process, we're kind of okay, this is cool. We're kind of, I think we're getting close to where we want to go. It took 3 records, I think, before we knew who we were and we were comfortable with ourselves and had a sound that was us. So this record that just came out back in October definitely feels like the coalesce of I don't know, lessons learned and honing our craft and all of that cheesy stuff.
And when you actually mentioned a few moments ago about how it took you guys 3 records, one of the things I want to know, because obviously going back and listening to this debut album, and then obviously listening to your brand new album that came out last month, you guys can you can hear the evolution in your guys' music. You can hear, you guys more and more taking it more seriously, obviously, and of course the sounds. You can hear you guys coming together even more as a one. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about how your music has evolved in your eyes from the debut album right up to this record that dropped in October.
Can you take this, Mike?
Sure. Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with just how comfortable we are with each other now. We rehearse pretty faithfully every week, whether we have gigs coming up or not. Whether we're getting ready to go into the studio or not, we're pretty much always together once a week to write and practice. And I think just that much time in a room together has just made us just kind of really click. We kind of know each other really well personally, but also in terms of kind of what we're going to do or what we're going to bring to the table musically. So I think that's just really kind of helped develop the newest batch of songs.
Yeah, it's interesting too. If you listen to the record, like the first record we did in the studio, pretty standard, like record, bass and drums, maybe simultaneously, layer all these other things, punch in and fix stuff. The second record was like, it was getting close to the pandemic, and staying home and recording parts remotely was becoming more of a thing. So that record is like, there's like 100 takes of me on a certain song. And like, it's really, I don't know, it's not organic in any way. So the third record, the one that we just did, is all live off the floor. All the bass and drums are done at the same time, first or second take, no edits or anything. So like really, for the first time, I think in like 10 years, what you hear is what you get and what we're able to actually do. So like, if you come and see us, it sounds just like the record. That's a big part of in Mike's doing, I would say. I think I came from the world of like weird progressive music and let's do it 1,000 times and get it exactly perfect. And it turns out that kind of sucks when you layer a bunch of people doing that. If you just get in the same room and you just play at the same time, I don't know, it's different. There's like an energy to it. It almost feels more like you're at a show or something.
I don't really like to do more than 3 takes of a tune. So
I did 100 of a bass part.
Yeah, if we do 4 or 5 takes of a full run through, I start to get pretty bummed out about it. So I usually try to push it a little bit. But I don't think we could have pulled that off on the first record. The way we did on the new record.
No, I wasn't good enough yet.
And I don't blame you as well, man. 100 takes, I could maybe sit through 2. Like my ADHD would not let me do 100 takes. Like I don't care how terrible the other takes sounded. My body and my mind would not let me do 100. So I definitely feel you. But I also agree with him on 100 takes. You got to find that perfect. You got to find that perfect sound as well, man. If you actually get that, if it takes you 99 takes to get it perfectly, man, sometimes you just got to seek that perfection, especially when it comes to music.
Yeah, but ask him which take is actually on the record.
Oh yeah. I called a buddy of mine. I was you mentioned ADHD. I was spiraling, man. I was getting superstitious. I started I'd get like a nearly good take and I'd be like, I was really leaning on my left foot and looking out the window. I felt looking out the window distracts me, and then I'm more like crazy stuff because I was alone in pajama pants recording bass. And I called my buddy Albert, who actually recorded the newest record. And he asked me to go back and listen to the first take I did, and I couldn't tell the difference, man. It was nuts. I was splitting hairs, so yeah, not a good use of time. We're in a better place now.
But also as well, July 27th of 2020, you guys actually released a live single titled The Mountain. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about what went into the creation of this single, and of course, how did you guys actually capture that live performance sound? Because I do know there's many different ways you can really capture a live performance, and of course, make a live single or a live record.
So that was in what month did you say that was?
June, right?
That was in July.
July. So that was full on pandemic times, right? When we did that, and that was actually part of a full live performance that was, I don't know, a half hour long or something, or 45 minutes long or something like that we did actually in the studio where we recorded our first record, Sound Park Studios. Our friend Jamie Foles did a few concerts as a series, just kind of during that time when lots of people were doing live from home and all that kind of stuff at that time. So we actually did that as a fundraiser, and we had like a whatever donation thing set up so people could send money in for a local food bank. And then we just decided to look through and see if there was anything that really stood out as a good performance that we really liked, and settled on The Mountain as the one that we thought really came together well, and Jamie was able to give us a really good mix of it, a really good edit of the video, and that's how that came together.
Yeah, it was cool. It kind of informed like the next record because we did this live thing during the pandemic, and it was good. It sounded fine. There was no brutal. I don't know. Can we curse? We can't curse, right?
Oh, we're completely uncensored, so definitely swear away.
Okay, yeah. So we didn't really fuck up anything, and it was kind of like, well, maybe we could just record like this. Maybe Mike has been right all this time, and there's something to two takes. So yeah, we actually funny though, ironic. We re-recorded the Mountain for this new record, like not live, but like I said before, kind of live.
Yeah.
Oh, that's confusing. We redid the song for a new record. It's a little better. It's a little more what we heard in our heads when we first wrote it. Yeah.
Although I play a fill in the live version that I haven't been able to reproduce, and it's not that it's difficult or anything. I just can't. I don't know exactly what I did, and there's no video for that particular 2 seconds of the fill I played, and I hear it and I can't figure out what it is.
I wasn't gonna bring it up, Mike, but I think it's the best thing you've ever done.
I got to send it to a better drummer.
It breaks my heart. We gotta
send it to a better drummer.
We need Dr. Drums to come in and dissect your fill, teach it to you. Yeah.
Anyway, that process was a lot of fun. That was a fun night for sure. And I really like the I like the version on the record, but I really love that performance of the Mountain live that we did. It's super spontaneous. At one point, Daniel's headphones completely stopped working, so he kicked them off. He took them off, so he was just live in the room. He didn't have any of the headphone stuff in, and I don't know. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah, he just ripped guitar for the last 3 minutes of the song, and we all just followed him really closely because he couldn't hear us. And, yeah, you're right.
He could hear me.
Oh.
And also, guys, going back to a few moments ago when you actually said that when you guys actually play live, you guys do it so well that, it sounds almost like you're just playing the record. That's what I thought when I listened to The Mountain. I listened to it quite a few times. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I was sitting there like, is this really live? Is this like a typo? Because it sounded like an actual studio session recording. So I was kind of like, you know what? I'll ask it anyways, but it definitely sounds like just an amazing studio session. But, we got our answer tonight, folks. So if you listen to that, just know it's live.
I appreciate that. And it's also like Sound Park Studios is like a world class. It's a real top notch studio. So that helped a lot with the overall production of it, and of course the mix is really good and stuff too. So
yeah, we've been doing this thing like Mike mentioned. Every Wednesday we get together, regardless of what's going on. We've been doing that for like nearly a decade, and so like I don't have like a poker night in my life or anything like that. This is our version of that. So we get together and we have a mini fridge full of beers in our jam space, and we just work on stuff every week. And I think 10 years of practicing together, week after week after week, you start to be able to read each other's minds in a weird kind of not creepy but helpful way, in a really fun, creative way. And so like some of the spontaneous stuff Mike was talking about in there, I was kind of caught off guard by that too, because we didn't really talk it through how long the song was going to be or how it was going to go. It's kind of, there's room for us to play with it. And then Mike just started doing stuff, and it just, I don't know, we all kind of knew what he was doing. And
The Mountain is different every night. That's one song that I don't think we have ever played the same way twice. Most of the songs are more or less the same. I might do some different fills. Dan plays different leads. Morgan might do a little different bass run or whatever, but the structure and the, what do you call that? Arrangement of the song is always the same, but The Mountain has never been played the same way or the same length twice.
So it makes it kind of extra fun to pull off the live thing, because it's like, oh shit, we're improv. It's not improv, but there's some room. It's a conversation.
And also as well, guys, October 13th of 2023, you guys actually released your 10-track self-titled album. I know we talked about it briefly throughout the interview, but I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about the story and inspiration behind your guys' brand new album. And of course, are there actually any hard copies available to be purchased today if the listeners haven't already snagged themselves one?
Yeah, we've got boxes of vinyl. We've this is the first record that we didn't do CDs for. We just did vinyl. So it's digital or vinyl because that's just a little bit more special to and important to us. About this record, oh man, we started this record as the pandemic started, and during I think this was like our Fleetwood Mac rumors. Like we worked on this for 3 years, kind of thing, but not every week or even every month. There was like children were born during the process of this. Entire families were taken out with COVID and came back after a couple of months. And so, yeah, we really worked on it for roughly 3 years, eh?
Oh, that like if you include from the writing of the first, whatever the first song that was written on it, up to it being released, at least that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like
the actual recording process was 2 years, I think.
Right. And we recorded it with like two of our oldest and dearest friends who Albert Leone and Nathan Richards are their names. Albert owns a house in the middle of nowhere. There's no cell service. There's a landline, but where nobody knows phone numbers anymore. So you basically are just like in the studio in the woods with books if you're bored and or nature. And it was awesome, man. We had days where we had days where I pushed to do the bass as quickly as we could so that I could just go cook for the afternoon and make pizzas for the guys because we're in our friend's house. And like I said, there's not anything else going on. So we're just like making feasts and I don't know. It was magical. It was a really cool experience. What was your favorite part about recording at Albert's?
One day after I finished up drums, Albert and I went for a walk in the woods for like an hour, and he showed me his old property.
Yeah,
that was pretty great.
The typical.
That's kind of
experience.
a typical vibe of how it went. No, the whole thing was awesome. He's got 2 wood stoves, super comfortable. The room we recorded in sounded amazing. Yeah, that just the whole thing was fantastic. And like Morgan said, there's no cell service there. He doesn't even have internet in his house. So we were just tuned into it. There was no, because it doesn't matter how good the vibe is. I know I'm going to be, looking at my phone if my phone is there. But in this case, it was just not an option. So it just kind of made us like, I guess, super present.
Yeah, you guys were present. I read the William Shatner biography.
Yeah, he's got a lot of music bios and lots of records to look at, and there's about, I don't know, 50 guitars in the house that you can play with and look at. So
yeah, this still has to do with that internet, it turns out. But
yeah.
But also as well, December 16th, so just in a couple weeks, if that, you will actually be taking the stage at the Brighton Brewing Company alongside Lady Slippers. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about what the listeners can expect from this up-and-coming performance, and of course, where can we actually snag ourselves some tickets?
Right, Brighton Brewing is our unofficial sponsor for life. They're a craft brewery down the street. We're drinking some of their fine product right now, and in fact, Mike has collaborated on beers for them. Mike also makes beer. He makes beats and beers. And he grows beets. That's not true. This show on December 16th is with actually Albert, the guy who recorded our record for us, is in the band that we're playing with, Lady Slippers. It's some old dear friends of us. We live in Cape Breton, which is a really small but very musical island. So by the time you're in high school, if you're in bands, you are sort of cross-pollinating and you're in 3 bands. And by the time you're in your 30s, you know all these different people in the scene and you have all these different connections. So we're playing with this band, Lady Slippers, who is made up of a bunch of old dear music friends of ours. And we're going to play the whole record from start to finish. And then we are going to, okay. So dude, we made this deal a long time ago when we started writing new songs that we weren't going to play them until they were all done and recorded and everybody heard them. But because during the pandemic, we had all this new stuff and it was it's really getting we were stretching things out. So we went back on our word and we just started playing all the new stuff constantly. And so we're in this weird pattern now of we put out a record, but by the time the record comes out, we are already starting to play new stuff and write new stuff, and that's all we care about. So we have to force ourselves to play older songs, and by older songs I mean just from the last
the newest
record.
songs,
the newest songs, the songs that you, as a person who's heard our music, would be aware of. Yeah, we struggle to play those because we got 5 new ones and we really want to. So we're going to do the record because that's the right thing to do after 2 months after you put it in the record. Put that in order. And then, we'll go from there.
But I have to ask, aside from this amazing show coming up at the Brewing Company, and of course, this self-titled album that you guys are currently full-fledged promoting right now, what is next for Fire Valley Fire? Is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's interview? Anything else you guys still want to touch on, talk about, or promote? We still got you here live on the radio station tonight.
January 20th, we're starting our next record. We the one takeaway from spending 3 years working on a record was we can't do that again. We need to do like a record in 3 months. So we already have the date locked in, even though we don't have all the songs yet. We're going to be starting recording January 20th. We got 5 songs written already. Going to try to have another record out in the next year or so. We'll see. Aside from that, what else?
Other than that, there's nothing right now too major on the horizon. But we're just kind of working on promoting this, and I'm sure we'll start booking some shows probably late winter into the spring. We'll start booking some shows. We're pretty active on Facebook and Instagram, so that's kind of the best. Anything that's coming up usually gets promoted there for the most part. So
Mike's our social media expert. He handles everything for the band.
Well, I do Instagram. Justin does Facebook. Daniel apparently is going to do TikTok, but I don't even know how that works. So.
Yeah, Dan just signed up for TikTok again. So, I mean, prepare yourself. It's going to be everywhere.
But also, guys, speaking of social media, obviously I know how to follow you guys, but for the people here in Ontario or all over the world that are watching this, whether we're live right now or, of course, on demand on YouTube, how can we actually go about following Fire Valley Fire across all social media platforms if we're just discovering you guys tonight?
So you can go to any one of them.
Yeah, it's Fire Valley Fire everywhere. Yeah,
it's pretty easy for us to grab that one when it's seemingly nonsense. So
Instagram Fire Valley Fire, Facebook's Fire Valley Fire, Bandcamp is Fire Valley Fire.
Across the board, you can't go wrong.
What else do we have?
You just blindly add /Fire Valley Fire to any social media service, and you're going to find us.
We have one of those QR code things, but we don't think we have any here. So all the links are in one place. It's I guess a sort of unique name. So if you just Google Fire Valley Fire, you'll probably find us.
Oh, you know what? You can go to firevalleyfire.com, Mike.
Oh, right.
That's right. Yeah, we set that up and forgot about it. I am the actual tech support for the band, but I have the worst memory. So yeah, we got that on the go too. That'll take you to everything. You can find all the things: band bio, merch, socials, all the stuff.
But I gotta say, first and foremost, guys, thank you so much for giving not only myself, but the radio station airwaves a bit of your time here this evening. It was an honor speaking with both of you guys. I'm super stoked to hear that you guys have a brand new record that you're starting to record next month. Sorry, not next month, January. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's not midnight yet here, so it's not December yet, but in January, guys. Super stoked and can't wait to hear that record when it does drop to the general public.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having us. This is cool.
You're most certainly welcome, guys. Thank you so much again, and definitely have yourselves a phenomenal night.
All right.
You too.
See you, man.
See ya.